even know it, okay? Because separation from God's presence doesn't always kill you immediately. It's a slow thing. Sometimes it does this. It weakens you gradually, okay? You can still go to work. You can still smile. You can still laugh. You can still post pictures. You can even still show up for church. But spiritually, you're operating on low oxygen. And the further we look at this book of Genesis, the further Cain moved away from God's presence, y'all, the more humanity began creating life without God's guidance. And the ripple effect didn't stop with Cain, okay? It started with Adam and Eve, his parents, but we get to see that it did not stop with Cain. They reached his children and his grandchildren and many generations after him, in which stats and studies, which I like to study, said studies consistently show that family patterns, your behaviors, your emotional responses, addictions, and coping mechanisms are often repeated, okay, across generations unless intentional intervention occurs. So in other words, what one generation tolerates, the next generation normalize. I don't know about y'all, but can somebody honestly point to yourself or drop in the chat, say, it stops with me, okay? So I said, I did not want to be that one who literally had one foot in the church and one foot. I didn't want to be lukewarm. Right, y'all? So I said the bloodline has to stop with me. This is me being honest. I said it had to be with me. So if I was called too deep or too holy or you too this or you too that, I said, because now that I read Genesis, guess what? It can happen. It can be passed down from generation, and we're all what? Gasping for air. When storms really come, the Bible says if you're not on firm foundation, when the storms come up against the house, the one that's not planted on good, solid foundation, you will crumble. But the ones who's building their house on firm foundation, you can withstand the storms. So the bloodline meaning I had to learn how to forgive quickly. Okay, because I could shut down. Okay, that was my mission. My husband would testify. I knew how to go in silent treatment. It was my protectiveness. I can go when I'm not talking to you. I can shut down. All of these things were protective barriers. But how many of us know that that is taught? And we learn these things from behaviors. And guess who gets excited about those things? You already know the enemy. The enemy does that. He uses those opportunities. How you wonder how people can go years after years after years, okay, Camille, and literally don't get delivered. But they love Jesus. People love Jesus. They love him so much. They love to go to church, but don't tell them to forgive. Don't tell them to start living holy and righteous, that you can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And they begin to say, I struggle with that. It don't take all of that. No. Where was that okay? Because the Bible says holiness is still right. The holiness is still right before God. He said only the holiness is righteous is going to see God. So we serve a mighty God, but it definitely starts with, are we going to be the one?